Welcome to Forest Namesake. So glad to have you here. I'm Valentine, and this is God and Our Stories series. And this story was submitted by myself, and it's called Loving the Dog I Did Not Want. For years, I had wanted a dog. My parents had 2 dogs when I was a baby, and then a boxer when I was around 3 or 4 years old. I was too young to remember them. I only have a vague remembrance of their boxer, and even then it might have been a dream I had about her. When we lived near my paternal grandparents, when I was between 5 and 8 years old, my younger sister and I liked petting the small black and white dog they had roaming their farm, whose name was Sunny. I don't think they bought her, rather she came by once, and after they fed her, she kept returning. One day, she never showed up. My grandparents said she might have been taken by a coyote. A few years later, when I was perhaps 11 or 12, I expressed my wish for a dog. My parents weren't ready for that responsibility and money, even though I had helped care for it. Not only that, but we were renting a house at the time, so keeping a dog that might make messes or cause damage wasn't feasible. There was a sweet outdoor tabby cat that made the outside property her home. I named her Miracle. We were very fond of her. Still, she wasn't a pet of my own. My parents asked if a fish would do, and I agreed. I chose a pretty blue fish, which I believe is called a betta fish. I loved watching the flowing fins as the fish swam around. Sadly, one day I came to its bowl to find it dead, which my dad removed for me. I can't remember if I got another fish after that. My brother was born when I was 12, so I didn't think about getting a dog or another pet, as I loved spending time with the baby. What a joyous time that was. Several years passed, and we were living in a different home. The desire to have a dog came to me again. At that time, I was interested in Labradors, or another large breed. But there was the money issue. Full breeds are expensive, and even adopting from a shelter or pet store was pricey for us. Then one day, my mom told us about a little dog situation that her elderly friend told her about. The dog, whose name was Sandy, was in need of a new home, and after discussion and prayer, it was decided that she would live with our family. But she was far from the dog I had in mind for a pet. She was a black and white Boston Terrier who lived with an elderly woman who attended the church we went to at the time. The dog actually belonged to her son, who had Down syndrome. He was in his 40s, living at home with his mother. While he liked Sandy, he wasn't around much. A lot of his time was either at the church on Wednesdays or at a charity program that provided support and activities for those with disabilities or who were seniors. The elderly woman was wheelchair-bound and not able to do much for herself. She had a relative staying with her, but she didn't like the little dog and was rough toward her. We had visited several times as my parents held a Bible study in her home. My younger siblings and I would pet Sandy or play fetch outside for a bit. But other than that, I wasn't very fond of her. I can't remember exactly the thoughts I had about her, but I think I was disgusted that she slobbered. She wasn't very attractive either, as her coat wasn't in the best condition. The elderly woman told my mom how sorry she felt for Sandy. No one could take care of her, except for the relative who wasn't kind to her. The woman said that more than likely she'd have to go to the pound. My mom didn't like that idea, as she once worked in an animal shelter and witnessed things she wished she hadn't. After talking to our family and praying about it, Sandy came to live with us instead. I don't think I was overly thrilled, but at the same time I was a little excited that we were finally going to have a dog stay with us. I still remember us taking her outside on a leash and having her sniff around. We agreed that though she would be kept indoors. We didn't want her ruining the plants we had, not to mention we didn't want her to suffer in the Texas heat. Additionally, she had once escaped her previous home and was attacked by dogs. We didn't want anything bad to happen to her. The more I spent time with her and helped take care of her, I could see she was actually an adorable dog. She also had the sweetest personality and never barked. It was fun playing with her. Not too long after she started staying with us, she became lethargic and wasn't interested in eating. She looked so sad lying on the bed we'd prepared for her in the corner of our living room. We laid our hands on her, crying and praying for the Lord to heal her. And He did. It was probably then that I realized how much I was coming to love our little dog and how relieved to know that she was still with us. Though Sandy had a bed in the living room, there was one night where she went into my parents' bedroom and woke my mom up by putting her paws on the bed. After that, I volunteered to have her sleep in my room at night. The poor thing did have health issues the year she lived with us. Her teeth were in poor shape, and though we did take her to the vet to get them cleaned, there wasn't anything else to do. Her coat wasn't shiny, and was even disappearing from her back. But after changing her diet and giving her lots of love and attention, her coat grew back. She would get ear infections too, despite doing my best in covering her ears when I gave her a bath. Several times she'd have to get put on antibiotics and be treated with ear gels. About 1 or 2 years later, we noticed her limping a lot and seeming to tilt. A vet visit showed that it was a disc issue in her spine. I believe it's called IVDD, or intervertebral disc disease. She was given medication to relax the muscles and alleviate her pain. Even though Sandy suffered with various ailments, she never let on that she was in too much pain. She still wanted to play and spend time with us. Her disposition was very loving as well as forgiving. There were several times we wouldn't see her behind us and would step unintentionally backward on her little paw. She'd give a yelp, but then immediately would wag what little tail she had and put her paws on us, almost as if she was giving us a hug. She knew we didn't mean to hurt her, and she could tell how upset we were at ourselves for causing her pain. She was also a people person and never knew a stranger. She'd get so excited when friends or my grandmother came to visit, or even some random person ringing our doorbell. We got lots of comments saying how cute she was. She wasn't fond of other dogs though, probably due to the attacks she went through before. I made sure to hold her if there was a dog nearby. One of our pleasures, and probably at Sandy's annoyance, was dressing her up. We'd go to PetSmart and choose an outfit from time to time, and oh my, she looked extra cute in her dresses. She was a good sport and would tolerate them for a spell. We especially loved dressing her up for her birthdays, which we'd hold a family party for. Even my grandmother was invited. Another cute memory I have is when I prepare her bath in our bathtub. She seemed to know when I was coming for her. She'd lie on her back as if she'd prefer me petting her belly instead. But to her dismay, her little body was easy to carry and cart her off to the bathroom. She never barked or got upset. She just sadly stayed in the bathtub while I washed her. My mom and I loved to wrap her in a towel. She was just like a baby. What joy she had, though, when she was finally free from the bathroom and from the towel I dried her off with. She'd run around the living room and grab one of her toys. One day, I noticed an interesting whitish lump. I was concerned it was cancer. It continued to grow, and we took her to the vet. A biopsy showed it was mast cell cancer. While writing this story, I looked it up and learned that it's a common skin cancer in dogs and certain breeds, including Boston Terriers, that are more susceptible. Surgery would be expensive, and even then, it might not be successful. She lived with us for probably months after that visit, maybe a year. The lump grew. The last few weeks were very traumatic as well as graphic, so I won't share all that happened. Finally came the day where we knew we had to let her go. We took her to the vet and cried our goodbyes. I think we were all in shock. The house seemed so cheerless. No longer would she sleep beside my bed. We wouldn't get to see her play or watch us in the kitchen. The day after her death, I didn't cry. Instead, I kept busy and helped remove Sandy's belongings. It was probably too soon, but for some reason that's what helped me cope that day. However, the following day, the sadness returned. I couldn't even say Sandy's name for about 2 years. The days leading to her death were scary, and it hurt too much to talk about her. Eventually, I was able to mention her and even chuckle at the memories we had with Sandy. She was a blessing to our family. In many ways, though a dog, she had the characteristics of a Christian. She taught me so much during her lifetime. forgiveness and not holding a grudge, how to truly love others, and how to have joy despite pain. I'm thankful to God for bringing her to us. So, hope you enjoyed this little snippet of our dog Sandy, or who became our dog. Sorry for the fumbles I had when I was reading, but I hope you got the message, and maybe you brought some memories of your own dog or pet that you have had or do still have. And as always, you can leave your story or instances in your life, and the criteria to do so will be down below in the description box. And I hope you just enjoy the video and the pictures that came along with it. And I hope and pray that you have a blessed day. Bye!